Well, I'm going to try to bring something at least a little bit uplifting here in terms of talking about where some of the avenues still exist and where they may exist. I don't think it would be, I don't think you'd all have your jaws dropping if I told you that being an immigration lawyer has become a little bit more difficult in the last 5 to 10 years than it was before that. But that being said, I really feel like there's some positive trends happening. I want to preface that by saying I don't think this by any means is a substitute for the sort of legislative fixes that Congressman Polis, Mr. Mendelson are talking about here. There are some fixes that do need to take place, but there seems to be somewhat of a recognition within the agencies or some of the agencies that work on this, that entrepreneurship is a good thing, and we want to encourage that here in the United States. Specifically, in the last couple of months, the director of the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service, that is the benefits arm of the Department of Homeland Security, which is in charge of sort of issuing immigration benefits to folks, has come out with some programs involving entrepreneurs. He's something he calls an Entrepreneurs in Residence program. They have gone to great lengths to sort of point out where some of these existing pathways can benefit entrepreneurs, and made some favorable interpretations of policy and regulation that might help folks. So specifically, while it's not great, I'm really encouraged by the direction that the agency is going right now. Such that we were even, I can even tell you of a Techstars success story of a visa from somebody who is a key employee who's going to be allowed to stay here. And whereas we might have had to fight very hard for that visa a couple of years ago, this time it came much more quickly. It came without requests for the whole, you don't get a kitchen sink request for evidence for everything about the establishment of the company. And we did strategically place some of the director's comments and press releases into that filing, and I hope that it did make a difference in terms of that, so that people are looking at that. So a few nuts and bolts of the immigration system, just to give you some background. There are several agencies involved. I mentioned the USCIS, which is part of the Department of Homeland Security. The State Department is the agency that actually issues the visas, and they're involved in some of this as well. In terms of time frames and what you can get, one of the misnomers of the system is that there is just sort of a blanket work visa. That is not, in fact, the case. A lot of the visas are for a specific time period, for a very specific purpose, and you need to sort of match that in terms of the qualifications and the types of, not only the type of job that is being offered, but the type of skills that the individual has. The congressman mentioned that maybe the system worked at one time for the economy, then it doesn't work now, and I would definitely agree with that. Our immigration system is really based on many employer-employee relationships, or the notion of somebody coming in and being a traditional employee rather than a job creator, and that's something that we would be looking at. So at changing, I certainly applaud both of your efforts to make those changes. In terms of some of the visas that are available and some of the things that were made specifically, that were specifically mentioned by the director, Alejandro Mayorkas, the H-1B visa, available for professionals coming to work in a specialty occupation. As mentioned, even an entrepreneur who might be reporting to a board of directors would be able to use an H-1B visa to come in, and that has been a little bit of a break from some of the policies we've seen over the last 20 months or so, really requiring an employer-employee relationship there. So that's the upside. The downside is that there are only a limited number of these visas every year, and will probably be out before, if you're watching this on TV, there's a very good possibility that we're all out of those visas at this point until October 1st, 2012, because we're running right up against that cap right now. There are intra-company transfer visas for individuals who might have been entrepreneurs in their home country who are able to come in, establish a business here, and grow that business relatively quickly, such that it might require a managerial employee within a year. So if you've got a team of individuals who are coming in, that's a great option. With the H-1B visas being capped out, we have seen an increase in the use of the O-1 Extraordinary Ability Visa for folks who are in the sciences, arts, education, business, this is a great visa, and if you're lucky enough to have it, I've certainly seen it in my practice, some unbelievably capable and accomplished entrepreneurs who come into the United States. The O1 might be a great visa for you. One visa I'll mention from an entrepreneurial mention is the E1 treaty trader, E2 treaty investor. These are great visas for folks who might be coming in to invest money into the United States. You invest it, you can create some jobs. The E2 is a nice visa. It does carry a significant set of limitations that might put folks at a competitive disadvantage, namely who has to own the company, so your ability to raise capital, raise equity, raise money in continuing rounds is a little bit limited. The other issue, and the main issue that comes out of something like this, is not every country has one of these treaties. I've dealt with a number of entrepreneurs from South Africa, which does not have an E2 treaty, who are over here starting businesses and going through rather tortured machinations to just comply with the immigration rules so that they can start their business and hire folks. And it can be a struggle.